Let me say something that might irritate the high capacity woman listening to this. You cannot do everything. Not because you're not capable, gifted, or that there's just not enough grace for this area of your life. But because spiritual maturity is not proven by how much you can carry. It's proven by how much you can refuse. Those holy no's. Some of us are exhausted not because the calling is actually heavy, but because your ego won't let you stay in your lane. And today, we're going to talk about that. Is this thing on? Welcome to Come Sis With Me, the podcast, real talk, biblical wisdom, and practical tools. I'm your host, Mia Randall, your wellness architect. Each episode is designed to help you align, release, and create a life you actually want to live. And today we're talking about how you can't do everything, sis. All right, so we are in our align phase this quarter, and alignment requires sobriety. Romans 12:3 says, "Do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment." Sober judgment, when I think about it, is not having this inflated ego, but also not being insecure. Right? It's not self-deprecating or making yourself feel like you're superior in any way, but it's sober, it's steady, it's stable. And there's also an uncomfortable truth that comes with that, right? Because doing everything is not sober judgment. Picking up every task or assignment or saying yes to everything is not sober judgment. It's either pride or it's insecurity or fear or control. Sometimes it's all four. But Paul continues in Romans 12 and talks about the body and how it has many members and different functions. And when we think about whole wellness, or when I think about whole wellness, it includes mind, body, and soul. The body is not the whole piece, it's a part. And so if you're not the whole body and you are a part, then spiritual immaturity tries to tell you that you can function as the whole. It's like when we focus on healing the mind, you go to therapy, but you don't go to the doctor for your body. You don't go to church for your soul or reading the Bible. When we only focus on one piece as if it was the whole, then we're not creating space for wellness in those other areas. If you are a part that is fighting to be the whole, then you are a piece of the part that's fighting against itself. Ooh, the lie high capacity women believe is if I don't do it, it won't get done right. That's one of the lies. I know there's many of them, but that one right there. So you tell yourself, I got to do everything because if I don't, we're going to fall behind. This is going to collapse. But there's also a part in Ecclesiastes 3 that reminds us that there's a time for everything. So while you may be the one that has to do it, maybe you don't need to do it right now, or maybe all of its needs are not your responsibility. You pick up gaps in the assignment, but you don't need to actually pick up the entire assignment. Not all gaps are actually for you. Not all gaps are like, hey, Mia, come be the repair of this breach here. No, some of us are burnt out because we refuse to accept the godly human limits on our lives. We hate the humanity part. We actually reject often the humanity of Jesus. I heard this in a teaching by Dr. Manny Arango, where he was like, if we really understood the human part of Jesus's ministry, we would be so much kinder, not only to ourselves, but to one another. We would not be fighting to get into alignment because we would be aligned with being okay with knowing who I am, knowing what is mine, knowing exactly what is not mine, and staying in my lane without resenting my life. Like we would be okay with that because Jesus' ministry, his humanity part of his ministry literally is like, this is who I am. This is what I came here for. This is what's mine. And this is what's not mine. I'm going to do what I was assigned to do. And that's it. And every time that it gets a little off or we get a little off track, I know right where to go. To that mountain, to my silent place, secret place. We don't do that. I really think it's because we don't understand pride versus insecurity. And this is completely from experience, Mia just telling the truth. Because I really believe that overextending myself was generosity, when really it was pride. It was Mia saying that I could do all of these things. I could say yes to all of this and show up and it'd be all right. I can handle it. And then there's this insecure part that was also saying, I have to handle it because if I don't handle this or if I don't say yes, then that person will be upset with me or maybe they won't think I'm a good enough friend. I'm specifically thinking about me saying yes to some things that a friend group of mine wanted to create. And I was like, I don't have it. And what I recognize is whether you're doing it from pride or insecurity, they both end in exhaustion. So maturing in me helped understand what grace assigned. And that's it. Without becoming exhausted or fearful of what someone would think about me if I didn't say yes to this. What would happen if it wasn't me that was doing it? So I came up with some practical tools that we could potentially use as high capacity women to help us get back into this alignment piece, this piece of being okay with saying, I don't have to do everything and yet still be peaceful about it, not fret when you say no, that you're going to lose a friendship or you're going to lose a promotion or a footing that you worked hard for, and that your business will suffer because of it. I want to get practical here. So here's 3 alignment questions that I really want you to think about and ask yourself. Practical tools mean practice, right? So I'm not saying this is going to be the fixer to you thinking you can do everything, but it could help. Can't hurt, right? Like you can't be out here saying yes to everything. Essentially, that's what we're saying. So 3 alignment questions. Number 1, what am I doing that was never assigned to me? That's a big one, right? How we do this or why we do this. We be picking up stuff that does not belong in any way, shape, or form to us. I do think we get sometimes deceived or we deceive ourselves because it could fit in the box. It could fit in the lane. But do we sometimes make things fit that actually don't belong there? I think so. If you work really hard, you could get another shape through like the circle or the square if you really try. So, like a triangle can go through a square, I think easily if you turn it to the side, right? Or maybe a rectangle. Either way, you get what I'm saying. We will try to make things fit and be deceived and deceive ourselves into thinking like, oh, this was actually assigned to me. So asking the question, what am I doing that was never assigned to me is a great first alignment question. A second good alignment question is, what am I carrying that someone else needs to carry? Ooh, y'all, I had this conversation with my husband a couple months ago. I was exhausted. I was tired. I think I was at the end of just a lot of different things and the Lord was bringing them all together. And I remember saying to my husband, bro, you got to take something off the plate. I can't carry all this. I need you to do X, Y, and Z. And because I had never said it before, he was like, okay, cool. Like, explain that to me. But it was so easy. And why I never thought to ask the question and like hand over some responsibilities, because we think we need to carry everything, that we need to do everything. And there could be several lies, especially for, stay-at-home moms or stay-at-home wives or whatever it is that you categorize yourself in. We're all leaders in different ways. One of the things that we can get caught up in is thinking, I have to do this because he makes the money or he provides for us in other ways. And so I don't want to put that extra stress on him. Talk to him about it. Have a conversation. It's the same with your friends. Like have y'all be so quick to abort friendships and relationships because you feel like you're carrying more. Have a conversation about what it is that you're carrying that you need someone else to carry. It's not a hard ask. That's a relational conversation that should be had. If you feel like you're carrying more in a relationship, there's a nice, healthy, very functional way to talk about, hey, I feel like I'm carrying a little bit more. Can we talk about this? Okay. Number three. The third alignment question: what am I afraid will happen if I stop? And this one, that's real work, because that one will require you to release some things. You're naming fear, insecurity, pride, abandonment, fear of resentment, fear of retaliation. Like, you're naming some things that you don't have to carry. So you can abandon that thought process, give that to the Lord, and then ask for healing in that area. That is real work. What am I afraid will happen if I stop? What am I afraid will happen if I say no to this specific task? Am I afraid that this person won't like me, or that others won't see me as authority in this area? Will I not be asked to do something again? Will people abandon me? Will people stop calling on me? Like, be honest. Why do you think you need to do everything? What are you afraid will happen if you don't do it? That it won't get done because you believe that you are the sustainer of it all? That's real work. So practice answering these alignment questions. Write them down. After you answer them, write down 3 responsibilities this week that are truly yours, right? Like, they really only belong to you. And only 3. I don't want you out here making a whole monthly list. This is 3 things that that you're responsible for this week. Not 10, not 12, 3. Okay. I want us to practice what getting an alignment means, what it looks like to say, I don't have to do everything. And this still looks like, feels like, can be very much a part of the expansion of my capacity. We talked about becoming her in the last podcast episode, and becoming her doesn't mean that you're taking on everything. It means that you are taking on the things that you are supposed to be focused on wisely. Spiritual maturity, we talked about, is not loud. It's stable. It requires those human limits because you can't do everything, but you can do what is yours in excellence, not perfection, but with excellence. And that's enough. That's enough, sis. Because showing up and doing the assignments that are yours is enough. All right, sis. Go do what you're responsible for this week. I'll see you next week. Bye. If this resonated with you, follow the podcast and leave a review. Or if you want to share your story and help shape our sisterhood, go to www.thewellness-architect.com/podcast and click on share your testimony. We would be honored to hold space for your voice. Thank you for coming for the stories and strategies and staying for the sisterhood. Until next time, sis, be well.